If you've ever owned a Ford, you probably know they make some of the most dependable and powerful vehicles out there. From the iconic F-150 to the Mustang to their newer electric models, Ford has built its reputation on toughness and innovation. But what if I told you there's something inside the company, a serious issue, that one former Ford engineer says could cost drivers in the long run? That's right. An ex-Ford engineer recently spoke out, revealing what he calls the company's biggest hidden flaw, a flaw that affects how cars are built, tested, and, more importantly, how long they truly last once they hit the road. And the scary part? Most Ford owners have no idea it's even happening. So, let's start at the beginning. The engineer who worked at Ford for over a decade came forward anonymously to talk about a growing problem inside the company's production process. He wasn't some intern or low-level employee. This guy worked directly on powertrain development and quality control, meaning he had a front-row seat to how vehicles were actually engineered before being released to the public. According to him, Ford's biggest weakness isn't in their design or technology, it's in their testing philosophy. He explained that in recent years, there's been massive pressure from the top down to speed up development cycles. Basically, Ford is in a race, not against time itself, but against competitors like Toyota, Chevy, and Tesla. The company wants to release new models faster to keep up with demand and stay relevant in the fast-changing automotive market. That sounds fine, right? Faster innovation, more new vehicles, better sales. But here's the catch. When you rush the engineering and testing process, you start cutting corners. And when those corners involve engine durability, transmission reliability, or software calibration, you're asking for trouble. According to this ex-engineer, Ford's fatal flaw is that they've traded long-term durability testing for faster product rollouts. In simple terms, vehicles aren't being tested as extensively as they used to be. Back in the day, a new powertrain might go through millions of miles of simulated and real-world testing before ever reaching a customer. But now, that testing time has been shortened, sometimes by months. He claimed that instead of solving problems fully during testing, engineers are now told to release and monitor. That means if a small issue pops up during testing, instead of delaying the vehicle launch to fix it, they just make a note and send it into production, planning to address it through software updates or later recalls if customers complain. Think about that. It's like sending out a plane knowing there's a small mechanical issue, but hoping to fix it mid-flight if passengers start noticing something's wrong. And here's where things start to make sense. If you've been following Ford news over the past few years, you've probably seen reports about transmission problems, engine failures, and repeated recalls. Remember the power shift transmission controversy? It haunted Ford for years. Thousands of customers complained about jerky shifting, stalling, and complete transmission failure, all because of a rushed rollout and internal pressure to get the new design into cars quickly. That ended in lawsuits and hundreds of millions in compensation. Then came the 3.5-liter EcoBoost timing chain issues and the infamous oil consumption problems. These weren't caused by bad engineering. They were caused by poor validation and not enough real-world testing. Ford wanted to push out their new tech as quickly as possible, but in doing so, they let customers become the test drivers. The engineer said, "We used to say, test it until it breaks. Now, we just hope it doesn't." That line right there sums up the problem perfectly. Now, it's easy to blame engineers or factory workers, but that's not really where the problem lies. The real issue, according to this insider, is corporate pressure. Ford's leadership has been pushing to compete in every segment at once: trucks, EVs, hybrids, and SUVs, while cutting costs wherever possible. The result? Teams are spread thin, development timelines are shorter, software is being written and tested on a tighter schedule than ever. And when deadlines loom, managers are forced to make tough calls. Do they delay the launch and risk investor backlash, or push it out and deal with the consequences later? You can guess which one usually wins. And that's how small problems become big ones. A single calibration issue in a turbo engine, A slightly weak clutch in a transmission or a battery management system that wasn't fully tested can turn into expensive repairs and angry customers down the line. So what does this mean for the average Ford owner? Well, it doesn't mean that your truck or SUV is doomed. Ford still builds great vehicles. The F-150, Bronco, and Maverick are solid examples of smart engineering and innovation. But it does mean you should be more cautious about buying a brand new Ford the moment it's released. Think of it like this. The first year of any new model is usually the most problematic. That's when hidden flaws and design bugs surface, the ones engineers didn't have time to catch during the shortened testing phase. But by the second or third model year, most of those bugs get fixed through recalls, service updates, or small revisions. So if you're thinking about buying a brand new Ford model, especially one that's just been redesigned or completely new, waiting a year could save you from a lot of frustration. Also, keep an eye on technical service bulletins, TSBs. These are internal documents Ford sends to dealers when they find recurring problems. They're not publicized like recalls, but they tell you exactly what issues are popping up with your model. Checking those can give you an early warning before things go wrong. Now, to be fair, Ford isn't ignoring these issues. The company has made it clear they're working to improve quality and regain customer trust. In recent years, Ford's CEO has even admitted that the company's quality control hasn't been up to standard and promised major changes. They've hired new engineers, reorganized development teams, and invested heavily in better testing equipment and software simulation tools. But, according to insiders, fixing this problem isn't like flipping a switch. It's a culture shift. You can't just hire more people and expect decades of pressure-driven habits to disappear overnight. That ex-engineer even said that many of his former colleagues still face unrealistic deadlines and management pressure to meet release dates, even if that means skipping over potential issues. So while progress is happening, it's going to take time before the full benefits reach customers. At the end of the day, Ford still builds some of the best trucks and SUVs on the market. But as this ex-engineer revealed, the company's biggest weakness isn't under the hood. It's behind the scenes. It's the constant rush to release new models faster than ever, sometimes at the cost of proper testing and long-term reliability. Ford has the talent, the legacy, and the resources to fix this. But until that culture of release now, fix later changes, customers need to be cautious and smart about when and what they buy. If you found this video eye-opening, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us reach more drivers who deserve to know the truth behind the badge. And if you love learning what's really happening inside the auto industry, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell. Until next time, drive safe, stay informed, and remember, sometimes what happens behind the scenes matters more than what's under the hood.